It's been more than a year and COVID is still here. While a lot of us have been able to adapt our practices, our way of doing things, given this new normal, it's still very much a challenge for a lot of leaders, especially in leading their teams and organizations. Today, I'd like to talk about some tips on how to lead given the COVID situation. Hi, my name is Joey and welcome to the Corporate Mechanic. Today we'll be having our Holy Week session, our Holy Week episode. So it's Good Friday right now, and I hope everybody's still in a good mood, no? Not too somber and all that. Because typically when we talk about Holy Week, a lot of people are, fasting, doing a lot of things, and basically trying to repent of their sins. But honestly, guys, we should be doing that all the time. So it's not just during Holy Week. Anyway, so today, I'd like to talk about a topic that I think is very crucial for a lot of the leaders, especially given the fact that it's been more than a year and we're stuck in this quote unquote new normal, the COVID situation. A lot of countries are still haven't recovered yet, okay, especially including the Philippines, and most especially the Philippines right now, given that we're still in a lockdown. But nonetheless, life goes on. We still need to push through. We still need to do the things that we need to do in order for our businesses, our organizations, our families, and basically every organization that we lead. We all need to survive. So, what I'd like to give right now, what I'd like to talk about right now, are some tips in leading given the COVID situation, given a COVID world. All right. So three simple tips that I would like to share with you guys. First tip is to lead with empathy. It's very important that as leaders, we know how to empathize with our team, with our subordinates, with the people that we work with. And when we talk about empathy, this is a term that we always hear, but don't probably have a good idea on what it is really. When we say we want to empathize, we put ourselves in the shoes of these people. Okay, we need to put ourselves in the shoes of our team. What are they really feeling right now? It's not just saying, "Oh, I feel you." It's not just that. It's really expressing, not just through words, but more importantly through actions. We need to show empathy through our actions. A good example would be if your team was unable to provide his reports or what you need him to do. He was a bit late because of certain concerns. We need to be a little more forgiving, especially at this point in time. We have to be able to truly understand where they are coming from, because even though we've gone past a year, things haven't normalized yet. People are still struggling. People are still having issues on how to even log on to the system, how to even do their work properly, given that they are not at the office. Working from home is not always the best solution for every type of activity. Sometimes if you need to go to the office, it's still also not as good because you don't have your other office mates with you. You're working in a skeletal force. You are socially distanced. All these things that we're doing right now in order to keep ourselves safe are also hampering our ability to become productive, to do our work. So as a leader, you need to show some empathy. You need to show some consideration on what people are encountering at this point in time. That's something that's very important. And not just to your team, you also need to show empathy to your customers. You need to show empathy to your suppliers. Basically, anyone who you work with, you have to basically level up that empathy that you have. Okay? So you need to lead with empathy. That's a very important trait that leaders need to have right now. Okay? Now, the second tip that I would like to give you guys is, as a leader, you always need to establish a vision. Okay, I believe I've said this a certain number of times already in previous episodes, but I'd like to emphasize this. As a leader, you need to establish a vision. Why? Because people at this point in time need to know what's going on. There's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of chaos going on, there's a lot of uncertainty going on, and what they want is something to hold on to. As a leader, you are the person responsible for that. You are the person responsible for creating that vision that your team can look at and try to strive to achieve. It's something that they should be looking forward to, that vision that you have created. Not only have you established that vision, you need to communicate that vision to your team. They need to know where they're headed. They need to know what's the plan. They need to know how are we going to get there. That's very important. Communicating that vision is crucial to ensuring that everybody in your team is in alignment. It's important because everybody in your team needs to know where we're all headed. Okay. Now, one thing that I need to point out in establishing a vision is that not everybody would be in agreement to that vision, and that is okay. Not everybody will always agree. Actually, that's the whole point of leadership. I remember one of my professors told me that if nobody is in conflict, if you are not in conflict with anybody, then you are probably not leading. Why is that? Because not everybody will agree to what your plan is, and that's just a fact. Nobody, in any situation, not everybody will agree to what you have in mind, and that's okay. You need to still trudge through. You need to still, try to accomplish that vision, even if there are detractors, even if there are people who don't necessarily agree to what you want to achieve. Okay? And then the third is to act, sense, and respond. Okay, so what's this all about? These are the things that you as a leader need to perform. Okay? Oftentimes, as a leader, we tend to try to analyze the situation. We want all the facts in place before we come up with good decisions. In a chaotic world, that should not be the case. Talking about best practices, talking about good practices, those things don't work in a chaotic situation. In a chaotic situation, the first thing that you need to do as a leader is to act. Okay, meaning you see something, you see a burning building. What do? You get out of it. Okay, you see that virus is happening. What do? You protect yourself. Okay, you do something. That's one of the most important things. That's the first thing that you need to do as a leader. You need to act, especially in situations like this. After doing your action, you need to sense. Okay, you need to understand. Okay, what's going on? In other situations, in a less chaotic situation, you can sense first. But in a chaotic situation, you need to act. Then you need to sense what's going on. Okay. If there's an earthquake around you, what do? You get out first before you see what's going on, before you see the damage that's happening. Okay, you don't have any time to think about these things, to analyze these things, to categorize the situation. Act, then sense what's going on. Try to see what's your action a good action to have been taken. Did you do things correctly? Okay. And then after sensing what's going on, then you respond. Meaning then you do additional actions that will pretty much address the situation. You respond accordingly after sensing what's going on. So that's very important. Okay? Act first, then find out what's going on, then try to respond appropriately. These are ways by which you can lead, your team in a chaotic situation. Okay? Now, in doing these things, when you act, you sense, and you respond, chances are you will make mistakes. And that's okay. Oftentimes, the biggest challenge of leaders in a chaotic situation is the fact that they don't want to move, they don't want to act because they fear making mistakes. But you know what? Even in a normal situation, people also still make mistakes. So you will make mistakes regardless. What's important is that you have acted, because that could save the life of your team. Okay, that can save your business, that can save your organization, that can save your team. from bigger challenges, from bigger problems. Okay? Essentially, act, sense, respond. It's all about being agile as a leader. You need to be able to adapt. You need to be able to be nimble. You need to be able to change, to pivot, to move, to do things in a faster manner. Okay? So there. So these are some of the 3 tips that I would like to share to you in leading in a COVID situation, in a COVID world. So I do hope I was able to give you some insights that you can really use as a leader, especially nowadays. Okay? So there. So if you have some questions, comments, feel free to write that down in our comment section. I would really appreciate if you can, like our channel, hit on subscribe, hit on the notification button so that you can get more inputs from us here at the Corporate Mechanic. So thank you guys. Stay blessed.